Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. My name is Alckemy. Let me make sure that my mic is working. Looks like it's working. I am almost ready. I'm just making sure that my levels are good and all that stuff is going on. Good, good. This is a cool song, man. I hadn't listened to this track in a while. I think that I could go back and make it sound better because I think that I was still like on my anti-OTT days. But that was a cool track. What's up, everybody? Welcome. I'm glad you all are here. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Arl. I'm sure that Numicron is probably hanging out in the background somewhere. What's up? How are you? Myself, I'm doing okay. I had to take Jersey to the vet. That's a bit of a stance to take. It was a few years ago, okay? It was a thing. It passed. I use OTT on everything. She's okay. We took her to the vet because we thought that she might have had an obstruction or something, just because her stomach hasn't been very kind to her. But luckily it was nothing serious, at least as of now, and so we're just trying to get her back on track. She's got like some inflamed intestines and stuff, and it's hurting her tummy, and so we are switching up her diet. We're gonna try to just find what's right for her, so that way she's not having the nasty dookie, if you know what I mean. But yeah, she still has energy. She has an appetite. She's not throwing up. I think that she just has digestion issues and stuff, and so we're going to try to get that figured out. But man, that was an expensive bill. If anybody wants to support the channel and my dog's health on alchemy.com, I would love you forever for that. Shit. We do have dog insurance, but still super expensive. So we're going to hop into just some sound design and stuff. I don't really have a lot of things planned. I'm actually curious, is there anything that you all want to do today? I knew you'd show up. Hello, welcome. And let me know. And while we're figuring out what we want to do, how to pay $1,000 for the dentist, US or Australian? I mean, it still sucks either way, but, or wait, yeah, that's still expensive. It still sucks. I'm sorry. Do they have universal healthcare out there though, or no? Eh. For some reason, that's blocking that. Okay, there we go. Complicated answer. Okay, we don't need to talk about it right now. So I think we are here with everyday quick play spells. Technically. So let's go ahead and get through these, and then we will do the thing. I think I did play this one. Yeah. Bro, what is this? Cool. You get 15 seconds. 15 seconds. 15. Bro, every track. Come on. What are you doing? This is every 15 seconds or less. I love that you're submitting. I really appreciate that. But I'm going to give you shit over that. This is really nice. 15 seconds. That was nice. I still would like the drums to be shorter. There's a little bit too much reverb on them, and a little bit too much of like it sounds like you have a bit crusher that's creating tails in between. But if you took that off, that would sound really like nice and techy. Dental is included unless you go to a hospital. You may have to wait for reimbursement. Plus, ambulance and surgery isn't covered. That's really good to know. Oh, yikes. Sounded like a DX11. Cool. So if you all want to submit a everyday quick play spell, it's 15 seconds or less. You can submit one per day, and the next stream I'll play them out. It's a cool way for me to showcase what you're working on. It's also a way to hold you accountable for getting in the DAW and making stuff. Why is Alckemy such a stickler for 15 seconds? Because that's the rule. That's the name of the game. If you're submitting more than 15 seconds, then you're already doing too much. Cool. So I'm curious, does anybody have anything that you all want to see, or anything that you want to do? Anything that interests you, or anything that you would like to start as a jump off point? I don't have very many of you in here, but that's okay. So basically, if you're a middle class income, you get health insurance anyway, and you're low income, you just get to go to the doctor. So I was trying to reply, but YouTube blocked you? No, it's a good rant. Corey and I were actually considering Australia, and one of the big things for her was socialized healthcare. But this is really good information to have, because that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound great. All right. Yeah. What do we want to do? Yeah, Corey and I were thinking about moving abroad somewhere. We're not really sure where yet, but we're trying to have discussions at the table and figure those things out. Long story short, this country is, over the last 10 years, dissimilar to the US. You're going to move there one day. Let's all do it. I know, let's go. Let's all get a house, right? Actually, you all are very nice people, but I don't know you. Maybe let's all get our own place, we'll get to know each other, and then maybe get a house. You're sweet people, but I don't know you like that. No, I'm just kidding. What am I doing here? Yeah, let's change the timbre of that just a bit. Filter. I really like that. It sounds good. It kind of already sounds like it has a physical property. If you want to buy like 3 bedroom house, you better both have a combined income of 180K US or Australian. Are you saying that's how much you have to put down on a house, or are you saying that's how much of how it costs to buy a 3 bedroom house? That's how much it costs yearly? I don't make that much yearly. I wish I did. I need those sample packs aren't going to sell themselves, guys. Help a brother out. Help a brother buy a house in Australia. Oh fuck. Down payment 75K. Well, how much is like so do they not have um private ownership of property or like what's going on out there? What's the deal? You do? So how much so are you saying that like a house to buy a house is like 300 400K? It's just investors have priced everyone out of the market. Hmm. House is 1.3 million. We probably won't go to Melbourne. Maybe Brisbane or Perth or something. I don't know. Yikes. Yeah, man, like everywhere is expensive. You need to come up with 75K that you need to earn to get approved for a mortgage. Yeah, fuck. Everywhere in Australia is like that now. That's sad. Sad day. That's what some of my friends would say. So right now I'm just trying to get this to be a little bit louder. Mirrors is what's happening here to a T. What is I've never heard that term before. What does that mean? Oh, two identical situations. I probably could have inferred that. I just thought that it maybe was like a I don't know, like a different kind of cultural term or something. Sorry. Housing market in Australia identical. What's going on in Vancouver? Us normies are priced out of the market. Yeah, it's fucked up, man. That's what's happening out here in Vegas too. It's like everywhere is just so fucking expensive that you can't afford to live anywhere unless if it's like just fucking shitty stuff. I think the move is to just go buy a fucking tiny home and move somewhere. Has plans to build more housing. They say they do, but it's not really progressing ahead. Well, it doesn't even really solve the problem, right? Because what happens is you build more housing and then people that are up above just fucking buy it out anyways. You know what I mean? So it's like, what's the point? What's the fucking point? You need to change laws so it's diminishing return of investment for those people. I agree. But you also need people who benefit from those laws to be your change them for the whole part voted into parliament. Well, like there should be a nice middle ground, right? Like there should be something to where it helps people get into a home, but it doesn't just totally fuck you over. But also not something to where like once you have so much equity and property that you just literally don't even have to pay taxes on anything. Like the more you make, the more taxes you should pay. Foreign investors snapping up a large majority of homes. Yeah. That's pretty sad, man. You know, it just want this to be a little bit shorter. Yeah, wait, can you make a fucking thing, please? Oh my god, dude. That's so fucking annoying. Fix this, Bitwig, please. What the hell? What the hell, Leandre? I have a host of properties in Sydney, so I'm glad the prices are going up. Wait, you have a bunch of properties out there? How did you end up here? Oh, he was saying the host of that's what the prime minister said. Jesus, dude. Prime minister asked about. Okay, sorry. Yeah, my chat is a little bit cut off, so forgive me. You can see like part of it is a little bit off. Um, so sorry about that. Yeah, the ninth or the 20th century um generation is really just fucking young people over, like so bad. It's bad, man. I'm kind of tired of it, man. I'm tired of that, like that we have to be so fucking informed on politics these days. Shit's boring. I say informed. I bet we're probably not even informed on half of the shit that goes on, but it's just like, yeah, I'm sick of it. I just want to talk about music and make a fucking living and, enjoy this shit with other people. But it's unfortunately come into the case where it's like, you have to know about this shit to some extent, anyway. Especially like if you're a parent, like a young parent. Oh my gosh, dude. I could only imagine how hard it is to be raising a kid today. What's going on here? Sometimes tell my friend he might want to stay up to date on these topics. Yeah. Well, I remember when I was a lot younger, I didn't want to talk about this shit. I was like, I don't care. I just want to live my life. I still feel that way, but it's kind of coming to the point now where it's like it's becoming more and more difficult to ignore. Sneeze attack coming. Just don't want kids. I don't think the world they inherit will be worth living in. Yeah, Corey and I don't want kids either. I just don't want them to have to deal with what the generation before and even this generation is leaving behind. Yeah, I agree. I'm the opposite. I used to be one of those people who went to protests and stuff. Now I don't know. Well, Corey and I have gone to a couple of things going on out here, and I don't know. I think that unfortunately, like this is a big symbol for change, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it's just like history has told us that. Like you're 24-year-old, 25. Me? Are you saying am I 24? That is a very nice compliment. Why does it sound so shitty? What's going on here? That sounds a little better. Do I look 24? Yeah. Add a decade to that. I will be 34 in 10 days. It's because of the face, right? Like I always look pissed off. Like people are protesting the war in Israel every week. A recent protest about foreign investment in housing got dwarfed by people anti-protesting the people being racist somehow. Yeah, I mean that happened in the US too, right? Like we had the Black Lives Matter movement and then people tried to spin it off into All Lives Matter and it completely devoided the whole thing about, racism that's happening in the country and put a huge damper on, well, equal rights, which is like, okay, even if you had the right intention with, and I was one of those people at first, right? Because I was like, I just didn't understand at the time what was going on. But, oh, hello. There we go. It wasn't until somebody explained it to me that I was like, oh shit. Um, yeah. But, what can you say? You live and you learn. So a lot of stuff that is sowing chaos as social media is being meddled with, especially bots, and there's this outrage of everything. Some they theorize might be manufactured. It would be, I think it would be naive to not think that is happening to some extent. You know what I mean? For some reason, this still sounds kind of like muffled. Sounds a little bit better. Watch the Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma. No. Some organized bot rings. Not sure how extensive that goes. Yeah, no idea. Okay. At some point, I was going to turn this into a metallic sound. We should probably do that now. Okay. There we go. That sounds pretty good, actually. That's not what I want. Spunk. Actually, during the pandemic, especially, I was mainly hanging out here on Alchemy stream, and it was a lifesaver. Yeah, I appreciate that. You've been here a while. I really don't use social media either. I mean, I have Instagram that Corey and I go through like memes with, but as a means of like keeping updated and shit. Nope. There's just too much shit, dude. It's like nothing but negativity. Negative, negative, negative. Now, for some reason, I do like this, but this does sound a little bit disjointed. So I need to figure out what's going on with that. It sounds a little better. Do I smoke tobacco or vape the nicotine? Nope. I don't do... Hell, I don't even do coffee anymore. I quit coffee. Um, Learned so much. It was wall-to-wall streams Wednesday night. I remember General Geibel and Dash Glitch, then Alchemy. Learned so much about making electronic music then. I mean, we've been here. Did you see that? Like, I recently had my channel's 7th birthday. Like, I've been here forever. I'm still waiting for that day that this channel takes off, but I don't think it's gonna happen, guys. But I love what I do, and it's very difficult to like think about even doing anything else. Not from a career standpoint. I think the thing that's missing with these are I think I need more white noise to cover this. Yeah. Hey Nate, what's up? Yeah, see how much more energy that has? What the fuck's going on there? Okay. That does sound a lot better though. Tied to Doll Wars? Like, you think that it's because I switched to Bitwig? Not to, not to put words in your mouth, but just curious. God, I'm so sorry. Only stay in their lane. Yeah, I think the other thing as well is like I started painting really broad strokes with music production. Like, and I think that's something that separates my channel from other people. Like, instead of me just doing stuff within one niche, I'm like, hey, let's make neurobass in this. Let's make neurobass in this. Let's make neurobass with hardware. Hey, let's make halftime in this. Hey, let's dabble within iOS. Let's dabble within time to use FL. I thought about trying it just to see how like what that would do for the channel. But I don't even know if I want that community here. And I'm not talking about the community that the producer community in general. I'm more so talking about people that are like, yeah, fuck yeah, FL, everything else sucks. Like I don't really want that here. Um Bitwig is just as bad with, you know what I'm saying, like with tribalism, but they don't really come here except for that one guy. That one guy fucking makes a new account every once in a while and shows up and then like just says some really rude shit, but it's not that often, you know. Um, I don't know. I think what happened with this channel is that FL for sound design is a bit archaic. I don't know. Patcher is pretty cool. That's kind of unique to itself. Even though you don't have modulators, it's still really nice to be able to route shit. Is this the guy who was sending really unhinged messages? Fuck, which one? You know what I'm saying? Which one? There's been quite a few in my short time as being a content creator. Hey, EDMS, how are you? There's some new faces here. Thank you all so much for showing up. We're just kind of hanging out and I'm making drums at the moment, but is there anything that you all want to see or anything that you would like me to explore? Because right now I'm just making this as a means to fill the void of discussion. Yeah, this doesn't have like the smack for me now, so maybe we can bring this back. I don't even know why I'm going through the trouble of like changing this because whenever I release this for like sample packs and shit anyways, I'm going to like just pick one. So I don't know, I guess options are nice, but yeah. Let's I just need this one to be honest. Yeah, is there anything that anybody wants to see today? I think regardless of the DAW Atlanta, there's always like 3 or 4 things that one does that the other doesn't. They're like 90% the same now. Seems to be showing up in the homepage. Always happy to find new producers. Really? I'm actually being recommended to people? That's good to know. I remember what I was going to ask. Did I cover how I made the Bitwig Foley generators? The percussion generators? Like how to get percussive sounds from random shit? It's on the Bitwig Masterclass, but it's covered, the technique is covered in other videos. But from a general standpoint, I'll give you like I'll just run it. The most important thing on here is that you have this little setup right here. So you need a tool. You need a replacer. Then you need a note receiver. I'm not sure if this would be good on stream, but I feel like you'd really like SoundThread and CDF. What are those? What are those? Sorry. Segments. This right here is the most important thing because what happens is you can take any source and turn it into a transient. And so once you have this, you mute this. You send this to the volume. It's a new front end for CDP software Apex uses to process audio. Oh, I think I've seen those. I think I'm probably just cool with a buffer effect. Do I have a SoundCloud? I have a website. That's where all of my new music is. I'm sorry that I'm going to ask you to go somewhere else. But it's just because fuck SoundCloud, fuck Spotify. Bandcamp's okay, but fuck that shit. Okay, so here's the thing. Within this, if we grab a quarter note and you do this, no matter what you send in here, it's always going to create a transient. See? I think that there might be yeah, there's too much of a tail on this, and that's why it's doing that. And so what's nice about this is that once you have a transient, then you just design the transient with random shit. So we could do things like bandpass, filter plus. You can do insane things like rearrange every slice of a sample by frequency or amplitude. Crazy things not possible in other scenarios. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I'll check it out. So coming from Cubase, there's two things I sort of missed: direct offline processing in Cubase's metronome and timing features. What do you mean by timing features? What timing features are you featuring the time about? We're going to set this to note because this is creating a MIDI note anyways. I'll make this a little bit longer. Yeah, I understand. I'm just... Cool. So, convolution. Yeah. If anybody else is interested, you can check it out in the Bitwig Drum Masterclass. But this is just something that you can use to get into... Sorry. Creating random sounds or randomly generated drums that have physical modeling properties. I guess in terms of physical modeling, if you have something like Slice EQ, that can also be super helpful because what you can do is set resonance points on this. So if you were to do something like this and just create something here, kind of like so, you can have two simultaneous metronomes. Oh, so like one for the main thing and then one for the subdivisions, I'm guessing. We've created a resonance. And so with this, if we put it at the beginning now, that's cool. Let me see, offset. We can set this here, change this to the offset by like 12. Fuse compressor, long attack, long release. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get your woman on the floor. Then, I don't know, frequency shifter. Quarter note. I'm going to do another one here. Set that to the mix. Probably would rather just do this by hand. Sort of why it's known as being the DAW for gent, because you can have both the host and the guest time going at once. Yeah, that makes sense. I suppose you could just get like a MIDI clip though, right? That just has clicks on them and then play that as your secondary thing. It's not the most elegant answer, but it is an answer. Grab a transient control. Get my partner to try a DAW other than Cubase. I mean, I think that's okay. You know, like if they're comfortable, like, dude, it is so fucking tedious to learn even just one DAW, you know? And while I do encourage exploration and try different shit out and whatever, yeah, okay, cool. But like the reality of it is like people don't really want to do that. They just want to make music. What is that EQ? This is slice EQ. Let's go ring mod. So I'm just adding to it, just different stuff. We will do some of this. What in the EQ? Sorry, I just being silly. I mean, you could do that with any parametric EQ. This isn't exclusive. I just made these points manually. You got a job? You got $200? Okay, so on this, we are going to add some of this stuff. Just commenting on the points you made. Yeah, you could do that with any parametric EQ. So yeah, this is how you can create your own custom percussion maker. And then once you have something like this, I'm just going to use a gate. Yeah, even switching to Bitwig from Ableton back in 2019, like it really wasn't that big of a deal. So now it doesn't really matter the source, right? Once you have something like that, you can just take this, be like, all right, cool, let's figure out how to get this into this fucking DAW, because the beta is still busted. Beta is busted. Busted ass beta. Busted ass beta looking ass. Tell me why you over here looking like an eclair. Krispy Kreme. Yeah, so now we can throw this into life. The circle of life. And we rename this Annoyed Jellyfish. And now we have a whole new like groove maker thing that we can use. You just add it. And then there you go. You've got percussion for your next track. To which, personally, for me, what I would most likely do is just go in here and find something that I like. So I would just be like, let me turn that off. So probably something like this. And then I just make my own version. Because like that's the biggest issue that I have about life is that it doesn't really have precise groove control. It's just kind of there. But if we started with something like this, seems useless, but we can create a shaker pattern with this. Something kind of like this. Not even worried about the sound of it, to be honest, because all we need to do to change this is to just throw another ring mod on here. Sorry. And then we can just adjust the groove to how we want it. So we can do stuff like this. Hey, Puny, long time to see. Track delay. I'm not going to start a track right now because I just want to kind of stay in tune with chat and just be present. But FL is a great DAW, but its limitations hit it hard. I don't know, man. Like, FL is the only DAW that you could pitch hi-hat rolls with. That's like the most advanced fucking feature ever. And also scale awareness, right? Like you could just roll a melody in and it'll automatically put it in scale. Like that's the most advanced. Sorry, inside joke. Every other DAW works somewhat similarly, but FL is in its own world. I think that the thing that bothers me the most with FL is just how many windows there are. I don't like switching and having to switch in between so many panes. Recommend people not start with FL is that it makes switching and working with others who don't use FL that much harder. Yeah, but it's like it's I love the windows in FL. How? It makes me okay. I'm not going any further on that one. Not out to rain on your parade, but that's a ugh. 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 Let's set this to repitch. Do something like this. But this is how I would create a groove, right? Hey, Swan, what's up? Where you been? Where the fuck have you been? No, I'm just kidding. Welcome back. Thank you for coming in and saying hello today. Switching windows puts me in different mindsets for what I want to do. Like every off-screen in Ableton and Bilwig, other DAWs have this need to do everything. Just finished giving a production lesson. Okay, right on. About to go to a feedback stream. Right on. Well, thanks for stopping by. Enjoy your stream. And then once we kind of have an idea about how we want this to work, then we can start creating the negative spaces. And do stuff like this instead. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Super Ableton pilled at this point. Yeah, like I think this isn't about you specifically, but most people are so like, I think that most people are so like hardwired into their workflow that it's very difficult to explain how the process is so similar amongst many other approaches, you know? And even now, like this is actually a testament of what I'm thinking about, but like I'm getting ready to start a new series where I'll be doing like how to pattern, and I'm going to be basically making beat patterns for different genres and showing you like the steps. And I'm probably going to try to keep it like under 5 minutes. So I don't think that I'm going to do it from scratch because there's no point, but I'll just explain what I did. But I think that I'm worried rather that a lot of people are going to be turned off by it because they're not going to see that they can take what it is that I'm teaching, and because it's going to be in something that they probably don't have, they're going to be like, fuck, I can't do the thing because I don't have this plugin. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the sad reality that I've noticed within so much shit. Excuse me. I just hit the tab again. Yeah. I mean, you can pattern it in pretty much everything. No, I know that. And that's my sentiment. But I think that a lot of people are going to take it for face value and be like, oh shit, no, what the fuck is this? I don't have this. Okay, next video. You know, I want to figure out how to make drum and bass inside FL from FL users only from, you know, like that's a problem. Like I run into that. Yeah, like I said, I know this. I know this. Like everything that I teach, I try to be as, unless if it's specifically about a program, right? Like I try to make it as DAW slash program agnostic as possible because I want people to find the bridge of understanding that like every DAW can do what it is that I'm doing. But looking at the core concept of what is the thing and how does it come together, um, that's just a difficult connection that I haven't really been able to make to a larger amount of people. You knew I was going to mention something about drum and bass. Did you though? I don't think you did. Andrew, I don't know. Maybe use a noun generator and then whatever word it gives you that seems interesting, write about that object. Wait, are we talking about rapping? Drum and bass. Drum and bass. It almost sounds like Jamaican if I say it that way. Drum and bass, man. Uh, yeah, they expressed that they wanted to writing inspo. Yeah, I think when it comes into rapping and stuff, I think like it's not just a word and even just a topic, but like what do you want to say? I think that's the best way to cultivate, or a great starting point rather, to cultivate like how to rap over something. Like if I wanted to rap about being tired, I'd be like, "Yo, I'm very tired. My brain is hardwired. Slave to the caffeine in the same way. I'm lacking sleep, but I can't touch it like barbed wire. I wish that I could float. Call me fly, starfire. But I have this blank expression on my face like a Pokemon, Quagsire. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of that's how I would do that. Sup. Sup. Writing lyrics ultimately was only as complicated as you wanted it to be. Yeah, I mean look at Waka Flocka. A B C D E F G. That too, scatting is massive. Well, okay, so you're on to something. This is the point that I've made in several videos about audiating, right? Because when you're scatting, what are you actually doing? You're expressing the rhythm and the cadence of the rapping, but not actually saying the words, which I do think that, like, for me personally, like, I value quality lyrics. And when I say that, I mean people that are actually talking about something, you know? Waka will make you want to get lit, though. I'm just saying, like, you can make it as simple as you want it to, you know? Yeah, I tend to not really. I think scatting as a sketch tool or in terms of jazz, yes, but in today's rap and trap, like from a humble person that makes beats every day, I think it's fucking trash. Um, but but when it comes into like finding your character, I think, or finding your persona, because a lot of times what makes people stand out, and this is actually something that I've talked about and will talk about in the future as well. Nobody leave. If you like rap music, hear me out. The thing about trap beats is that they're often extremely simple. And what I've come to realize is that the nuance within rap and trap in general is actually the rapper, because they are the ones that have all of the inflection and I don't rap, Later's boy. They're the ones that actually have all of the detail and like the uniqueness that they bring to the track, because everybody's paying attention to what the person is saying. But like look at somebody who's really animated like Kendrick or, Nicki or um Lil Wayne, like the way that they introduce their style into stuff and the way that they have those cadences and the way that they have those, small little details is what makes the track to me the most memorable. When it comes into like bass music and stuff, we're not really using a lot of words or anything like that. And so a lot of the inflection comes from utilizing creative and unique sounds. But the thing that is so interesting about this is that it can all be vocalized without being a rapper and also without having to have a lot of crazy sound design. So like if I'm making something that's like right, boots, cats, cats, boots, cats, but I can audiate the idea, whether it be through scatting or whether it be through bass phrasing, then it's such a powerful writing tool when you combine everything, and when you realize like this is one of the key components into figuring out how to write hooks or how to come up with rhythmic ideas that's supposed to serve as the heart of the track. Does that make sense to anybody? So, yeah, I mean, you could just replace those sounds with things to rap about, or you can replace them with your bass phrasing, or you can replace it with a melody. Like it's all played drums on a rap album. I don't even know who Dave Lombardo is, so I was today's years old when I found out that Dave Lombardo also are also today's years old when I found out that they play on a rap album. Drummer for Slayer. Oh, okay, yeah. When it comes into like live music, anything rock, metal, pop, none of that. To be honest with you, I feel like I'm actually out of the loop with a lot of recent releases from like bass producers lately. Like I feel like, have you ever gone through this thing where you feel like a lot of your favorite producers have like changed so much of their music and all that that it's like it's not more difficult to identify with, but it doesn't necessarily line up with what you're looking for. Like for me, the people that I really admire, I'm gonna listen to them no matter what. But yeah, it's kind of weird. I feel like it's harder for me to find new. I feel like it's harder for me to find new halftime stuff actually, unless if it's like the Yomp Wonk music, which I can't fucking stand that shit. I'm sorry if anybody here produces Wook halftime. I don't mean to offend you. I just don't like it personally. Yeah. Skrillex feels very changed from 2023 and I'm on board for everything. I think you should be, right? Because like at a certain point, if an artist or somebody in general leaves an impact on your life, I think that it's worth following their journey regardless of where they go because it becomes beyond the music, right? But when you're looking for a specific thing of music, that's kind of where the trouble kind of comes in. Seen tons of genres move away from the spark I love them for. Yeah. Found out with E40, his music changed, but it's still good. I agree. I actually kept up with E40 with quite a bit. I think that like I was okay when he got into the hyphy era, to be honest. Like from going from shit like Captain Sabaho to, Yay area or Tell Me When to Go, like I was on board for that. But then when he got into working with the younger people and like changing that whole switch up, um, like what was the song that he did in the last 5 years that I was like, um, what was it? Can't I don't know. He was in a music video where he was wearing like a jean suit. I can't remember what it is, but it's like you can't trust anybody or something like that. And I was just kind of like, But I mean, he's iconic and he has made so much. Busta Rhymes, like look at what Busta Rhymes is making now. Like I would not listen to his music, with what he's making these days, but he's had such a big impact on my upbringing that I'm like, okay, like this is where he's at with his journey, you know? And the other thing too is that's going to happen to you someday. Like if you're an aspiring producer and you're coming out with stuff and you've got a big following, little following, whatever, like your tastes are going to change, your intention is going to change, and some people aren't going to be on board for everything. I have people in like I had people in here be like, "Oh, I don't like your halftime shit. Like just make your hip hop beats." And I'm like, "No, because this is where I'm at." But you know what I mean? So you can't please everybody, but it is interesting to see to be on both sides, right? Of what it feels like to be a listener who like their shit's changing and then also being the producer where like your shit's changing and like it's affecting like even without the music for those of you who have been following my channel for a while, do you all remember like how fucked my channel became whenever I switched from Ableton to Bitwig? Yeah, or make different music, right? All that. And that's kind of like I guess one good thing. about not having like a definitive identity, right? How long did I make Ableton content? Fuck, I don't know, a couple years, I think. I got into Bitwig in 2019. But the thing is like I pretty much covered everything in Ableton that like I used to make music. The trap beats to EDM pipeline got me. Yeah. Like trap for me was 2006 Young Jeezy, you know, um rapping about the trap house. And then the Harlem Shake came out and they called that trap music and like my jaw dropped. I was like, "What?" And then hip hop took it back, which good, but then it became auto tune, whatever, and I don't remember seeing it. Well, that's because all of those videos are unlisted now, but they're there. I have so many fucking videos. Like I think my first video ever was how to how to make drums. And that was after I finished my first EP. Think I ended up hanging out once I was already on Bitwig. Considering Chester was approached before the first album and asked to dump the band and go solo, I don't really know the story behind what happened with Chester. Um, I only know the tragic end, unfortunately. Oldest. Yeah, so Ableton. Oh, but this isn't showing everything either. I need to be in YouTube Studio. It would be nice if I could just go to the end. Guys, I have so many fucking videos. Oh my god. And this isn't even all of them. Like, yeah. But yeah, I'm guessing like the era of like hybrid theory and Meteora and all that stuff when Linkin Park was huge, like that was life changing for a bunch of people. Like if you were a teenager at that time, even if you didn't like alternative rock and all that shit, like you were probably listening to Linkin Park. And the other thing is like during my time growing up as a kid, there was this really huge stigma about what kind of music you listen to. And that's one thing that I'm actually very appreciative of now. Like I don't know if that's a thing with the kids anymore, but like if you listen to techno cuz that's all it was back in the day, it's like you were fucking weird. You know what I mean? If you listen to drum and bass, you were really fucking weird. At least in the States. And then I think as time went on, I want to say like 2010, that's where people were kind of like, "Oh wait, electronic music's kind of cool on a widespread thing." You know, you didn't have to be like a well, you didn't have to be like so comfortable in your own skin to like be like, yeah, I like house music. You know what I mean? And this was me living in LA at the time. Like if you didn't listen to hip hop and that was like hip hop and trap and you weren't peeped up on the latest release on LimeWire, you know, or what was the other shit? Not Napster, but there was another one after LimeWire. It was like, what the fuck? You know, nobody cares what you listen to. They're all just trying to put each other on a niche underground artist they're into. Right, exactly. Soulseek. I don't think I ever tried that. But yeah, if you look here, this is all Ableton stuff. Garage, deep breeze, snares, beat breakdowns, super filter, serum, song concepts, drum stuff, which all this stuff is like super outdated. But yeah, it wasn't until here. So November 27th. Wait. Soundscapes time lapse with Bitwig's grid. Where was the first? I think I want to say that this one and this one were the first Bitwig videos that I've ever made. Yeah, they're unlisted because there's no reason to like everything that's outdated. I tend to like, or if I like redo a video, then I tend to unlist the other one. Hi, baby. What are you doing? Jersey's come to snuggle. Do you all want to say hi to my dog? Wish I saw your earlier drum synthesis videos, but shout out Artifacts to know how to make kicks and snares. Yeah, like all this information is all out there. Is there a reason to unlist a video? Yeah. Well, for me personally, hi baby. You want to get up here? You want to say hi to chat? Hold on one second. Hold on. Wait, wait. She thinks she's a lapdog, but she's way too fucking big. But she's still sweet. She's the best. Did we go to the vet on Monday because you were having a lot of diarrhea? Were you worried that you had ate something that you might not have been able to get out? This is Jersey. She's the sweetest. When it comes to people, she doesn't like other dogs, but that's just kind of a pity thing. Thinking along the lines of that was who you were and what you knew back then, and even if it was wrong, you could still help people. No, I think, yeah, the information is not bad, but I just do it so much better now. That's what I mean by outdated information. You know what I mean? Now I'm like, okay, I can make all of the drums that I really wanted to make back then. I've finally figured out how to do that now. And I'm like, okay, yeah. She has the typical staffy eyes. Yeah, she's so sweet. She also has the white crest. It's right here if you can't see it. You feeling better, sweetheart? You okay? You a good puppy? We've had her since June, and she's definitely a trauma dog. No, she's 3. She's definitely been through some trauma, unfortunately, but we're working on it. We're working on it. You a good puppy? Yes, you will. Who's good girl? No side eyes. Now I can do crazy stuff that younger me would drool over. Yeah, I agree. Same. Was also a staffy brindle with a perfect diamond crest on her chest. Aw, yeah. Corey and I talked about getting a dog for years before we decided to pull the trigger, and um, Jersey chose us, which I think is what usually happens. You know what I mean? We didn't pick her; she chose us. As soon as we walked in, and she was just staring at us in the face, and she sat, and then she just came over and was like, "Please, please take me, please." And we're like, "Okay, can't say no to that face." It's hard, man. Like if you go to a shelter, like you want to save them all. Um, but yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm the best dog sitter. That's true. That's true. If you've known me, I have babysat dogs for a very long time. I can't go to a shelter. I just come home with all of them. I have 4 right now. Yeah. This this place that we live in just cannot sustain more than 1 dog, I don't think. Because we live in a 2-bed condo. I know, right? Wouldn't that be awesome? But I don't want to clean up shit all day. That's the other thing too. If I'm being 100% real, like I don't want to clean up pee and poop. I'd also be worried about the other dogs hurting each other, you know? We were getting a pup, but then went to the earliest moment and she was still the one who picked us. Yeah. And that's kind of what that is, right? Like you go and like you don't really usually even have to make a decision. There's just one that's just going to be like, yep, you belong with me. I get tired enough just taking them out 3 times a day. She goes out like 6 times a day. Not saying that you shouldn't take them out more or less than 3 times a day, but she just she shits like 3 times a day. Isn't that right? Are you just a little dookie factory? You just a little. Look at that face. Look at this. Yeah, the pooping is never fun. So I do have a question for you. Is there anything that you all want to do music wise? While I have all of you here? Or do you all have any production questions, or do you all want to see me try to make a genre or something? I'm here. I don't have a lot of motivation to do anything proactively, but um if you want to see something sound design or try to make a beat and be silly or something, then we can always do that. Watch what happens if I stop. Yeah, my hand got tired. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Squeak. Usually she's pretty needy. The dog walks her. SNTS style industrial techno. I don't know who SNTS is. And eventually go for the headbutt. I haven't been motivated lately. I just need to bounce off large number of files. Keep putting it off. I want to learn how to make neuro like colon sound. I saw a project and they automate almost everything. You don't have to do that. You do need the movement, but you can just use modulators. It's time for me to head out, but I hope you enjoy the rest of the stream. Hopefully I'll catch you and then voice chat next time you do that. Yeah, dude, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Have fun at your next venture. And for any of you, if you guys are taking off as well, thanks for coming in and hanging out. I'm going to get her off of me. Okay, sweetie. When you start feeling better, I'll start giving you SNACKS again. But right now, we have to take a break and have a more simplified diet. I'm sorry. It's what the vet said. Can you get down? Come on. Down. Go on. Good girl. Thank you. I really want to be able to just retroactively change something without having to record a whole lot. You get me? Yeah, that's why you should just do it in Faceplant. Big stretchies. Oh, big stretchies. She's still doing big stretchies. Yeah. Have you seen the bass stuff that I have on this channel? By the way, Jersey can spell. Not yet. She's getting there though. She's getting there. She's not stupid. Personally love the discussion of working through ruts. Okay. What is this? What rut are we at now? Trying to think if I have one that's like directly colon sound, but I mean everything that I make these days are just kind of bass playgrounds. Oh, wow. Sat through almost every iteration of my neurobass tutorials. You don't feel like those are close enough to colon sound stuff? Yeah, like this is not automated. This is just modulated. Um, you know, and I think that and but I itch for that precision, dude. If I can give you any advice, let it go. Like I don't mean to like to discourage you from a journey or whatever, but like let it fucking go. Because even if, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but even if you had their sounds and you knew how to replicate it, do you think that you would out Cohen sound? Cohen sound is Cohen sound because they're Cohen sound. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think that you would be much happier if you took inspiration from what they do and you made your own version and you started thinking about like your own creativity of like how you could use that. But that was one of the biggest pitfalls that I got into with my bass design was it doesn't sound like them. And then even if it sounded really close, like I was like, okay, well, how the fuck do I use this? And it took me so long to figure out how to build an imagination around the sounds that I make. And that's like, oh my gosh, guys, like I'm talking about like it took me way longer to figure out how to use my sounds than it took me to actually learn how to make them. That was what Gaibo used to say every time someone asked him to make a raw style kick, like Radical Redemption. You need to learn to sound like you. Well, like that's a discussion that I've had on this channel many times. And yes, like unfortunately, when most people are finding that, they Google or they'll YouTube like how to sound like this person because they want that aesthetic. But they're not asking themselves the right question, right? Like, and that's kind of the thing too, is it's so linear and so hyper specific how to make bass like this person. But that doesn't give you the rest of the picture. If you were trying to be like, how do I, and it's so many problems to solve now that I think about it, but excuse me. If the entire world building isn't there and you can make one cool sound, but your drums fucking suck ass, or you know what I mean? Like you can't make complementing sounds to go in your track, it's never going to be usable because it's all going to sound out of place. Well, I'm guilty of that, Ryan. Like I do that, but I think like also like as a YouTuber to my defense, people just don't give a fuck about your music if you're a YouTuber. Like you can make some banger shit and people don't fucking care. Like it's a really weird line to walk. I don't even listen to neuro, but making neuro ass sounds is fun, so I try to find ways to weave it into other styles of music. That's the point though, right? Because it's not about the neuro sound, it's about the processing and the problem solving that goes into the neuro sounds. That's that's where the beauty comes in. Like all the shit that I know how to do, you can learn how to make a sound, then copy and adapt concepts to make new stuff that's more unique to you. Wait, what part do you disagree with? But I think that focusing on learning a specific kind of sound or type of sound, do you think that, are you saying that you should focus on learning a specific sound or type of sound? Because I'm saying that you shouldn't. I'm saying that you should learn from whatever kind of sound you're doing and look at how it can be applied to other things. It is frustrating, but you know what I mean? But the people that are, the thing is like, we agree on that, but express it differently. Okay, well, shit, as long as we're on the same page. One analogy I heard, it's like being a chef. No one's going to invent new ingredients, but you can blend stuff you like and make your own experiments into something unique. Right, like unless if you're going to actually grow, a whole different vegetable that nobody's ever tasted before. You know what I'm saying? It's really hard to to do that. What was I going to say though? I think that that's the hardest thing with this channel, and I think that's ultimately why I only attract a certain audience, is because the ambiguity that's left behind these tutorials. Yeah, exactly. It is because my tutorials are mostly based off of the whys and less on the hows. Except now. Now I'm doing something completely different. Now I'm going to give you the how in about a minute or less for sound design tutorials. And then I'm going to have the long whys and all that shit with for the members. So that way you just have the formulas. Like, because most people that watch my shit fall into one of those two categories. They're either really advanced or they're beginners. And so for the advanced people, here you go. You already know the shit. And then for the beginners, it's like, hey, here's a gateway to explore more, you know. Quickly turned into eerie, creepy paths that I was stuck on a bit. I don't know, man. Like pads are not really something that pads are always something that I could pull up and make pretty quickly. Just because they're slow. I think that's the best way to describe them, because the motion of pads are so slow. Like they're one of the easiest sounds to create. But when you have something that's either really fast or you have something that requires a lot of motion, that's where shit gets difficult. I'm trying to think if there's like a stagnant sound in my head or something that I'm like, I can't fucking figure this out. But for the most part, you know, right. They unfold. You know what I mean? But I don't really make the kind of music that's conducive to having big pad sounds. It's like compared to something like a neurobass that is right. That's yeah, we're saying the same thing. Like neurobass is like boom, and it's like oh shit. Making neurobass reminds me of like sound designing a monster in a movie or a transformer. You know what I mean? Having like all this complex shit happen, and that's part of the reason why I like it so much. But you know what I mean? Like it's not just something that you open a synthesizer and you're like, oh, put a filter on it. You know what I mean? Well, now it is, but when you perceive the detail within that stuff, it's usually not like that. I grew up almost unilaterally with metal, so aggression could come easily, but pads and atmosphere are hard on me uh, to develop. Yeah, I'm trying to look at it from a perspective like yours, but I guess for me, I'm just looking at the technicality of it. So I mean, really, like okay, like here's a great example. Um, so I have this sound, right, which is not phase plan. It's coming from the iridium, and if I place the iridium, if I mute this and I turn on the pedal routing, and then I just put this into the microcosm pedal. Hold on one sec. Let me turn this down a little bit. Like it's kind of already there. Congrats, we made pads. Well, okay, like here's the thing. Now you're just flexing. No, I'm not. Like, it's the same thing. So even if I were to take this and not send this through the pads, I will say something that was a major change was I finally got some cables to put the microcosm in stereo, which was a really, that was a big deal. Um, I think that pads really need stereo, but this is just sine waves. What do we need? Delay. I think my keyboard is starting to go kaputs. I don't want to order another one though. Just make everything in mono. Who needs stereo with anyways? I need stereo. I need stereo. You hear that? You hear that bird chest? I need stereo. I can even hear some of the neuro sound levels from my phone while I'm viewing. Yeah, it should still come through, and that's because it's all sine waves. It's always been sine waves. Yeah. Did you hear about the trick to make pro sine waves, Alk? Yeah. I copied this other guy named Alckemy, and like there's a short on it, and finally the secret's been revealed. Okay. Pads, three things: timbre, space, and texture. What was I memeing at the time? People that make stupid fucking sound design videos over nothing. So many ways. Take any effect. Use a bit crusher. So try something like this. I'm going to reduce the attack just a little bit. See? You could use distortion, which is what I usually go for. So if you have just a little bit of harmonics, which the analog heat is on here, and I'm just going to push a little bit of saturation into this. Put an OTT on it. And if this becomes too mid-heavy, you just reduce the mids. But if you change the impulse response, like look how different that sounds now. You change the timbre. Apply a bandpass filter instead. So, or you can do like the classic, which I'll change this to waveform, and then we'll set the kernels to 8, set the detuning up to where we're creating a really big saw wave. If you're getting all of that distortion, yeah, you just gotta figure out where that's peaking out. Every sound is an amalgamation of a sine wave. Or rather, every sound has a sine wave in it. And we can prove that based off of, well, I guess how sound is curated, right? Here's the thing. Together as a wavetable, well, let me show you this. A single harmonic, which is what sounds are made up of harmonics, is a sine wave. A combination of harmonics equals a complex sound, but it's still an amalgamation of a sine wave. Even if we change this into something that's like a saw wave, or even if we do something that's more of a square, even if we only have a single harmonic that's not on the fundamental, it's still a sine wave. No matter where you place it. So every sound is just an amalgamation of sine waves. Once you have that, then everything else just becomes detail and color, right? And like that's understanding your relationship of how sounds and stuff work in general. You're either adding to it or you're taking stuff away. And once you kind of have that principle, then you start to realize that any sound can become any kind of sound. And this is like the big theme of my channel, of what I teach. Vibrations and mentioning about like harmonics and vibrations of different singing bowls. No, okay, so that's what we would describe as resonance. Like whenever you hear Rest in peace, Grandma Becky. But whenever you hear singing bowls, the vibration of this, and when you have multiple vibrations, is when something is harmonizing. It's actually a mathematical equation. So the reason why chords sound pleasant or dissonant is because they either have a relationship via ratio, or they don't, and that's where you get dissonant chords. But this chop bowl, this is a resonance. You don't hear it? Maybe that's because of I was all trying to be cool and zen and shit. Backfired. Testing, testing. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Can you all hear this? Can you still hear me? Check, check. Yeah, you can still hear me. All right, let's try that again. Yeah. Yeah, that's a resonance. And so, well, part of it is because of the mic feedback, right? Because you're getting what I'm putting in is coming out of the speaker and then coming back in. A spinning bowl is played with a wet finger. Can't remember what it's called. Yeah, but that's just what we're creating. Yes, in a sense, they are sine waves, but when you get that vibration, it's when two vibrations are happening at once, or it's harmony, really, but it's not exclusive to sine waves. Like, that's part of the reason why people love re-spaces so much, right? Is because you get this pulsing whenever you have two detuned waveforms, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on how you want to run it. But that's why, like, this is my fucking favorite sound in the world, because it has that pulsing to it. Where is this? What did I place that on? Master? I don't even know where this is. Sorry. Let's try that again. That? No, I don't know what track I put the faceplant device on. That vibration is two waveforms that are creating phase cancellation. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. That's why people love re-spaces so much, is because of that. Just sounds like it's like ripping apart, yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it too. It sounds like an engine or something, you know. But I guess my point is that I don't want you to like put it into terms of it's just sine waves, because it's not. It's harmony and phase and other factors that go into play. And there's so much. There's a whole world about how this shit works. I will say that sometimes isolating certain things about that will help a lot. Yeah, and so like something that's really interesting about this is that whenever you have detuned stuff, like all of the harmonics are also detuned together. So a lot of times, like if you have really complicated sounds that are isolated in harmonics, there's going to be like several instances of detuning that can actually happen. So I don't think that I've talked about this or not. Yeah, I think that I have because I learned this mostly from Nick Ruse, but you have a first and a ninth, right? So check this out. If we go here and we detune this, you're going to have the detuning that's happening on the low harmonic, but then you're also going to have the detuning that's happening on the high harmonic. Hey, Jacob. So check this out. I have made a video on this. Right? If we go higher, then it's going to be faster. So then when you introduce the first one, now we have something that's happening on the first harmonic as well as the 15th. And that's where like you get just really interesting things that happen. And that's why having the harmonic series to work off of whenever you're making things can be really fascinating. You hear how now there's 3 different rotations that are happening with this? You have the low, you have the mid, and the high. Layer that over a more traditional FM bell. Dude, if you want to make bells, just do this. Take out the first harmonic. Oops. And then just use a sine wave. And then use that as your FM source. But set this to a different ratio. Wait, what's going on here? Oh, I was like, what? And if you combine that with your comb filters, which help give it a natural resonance, but harmonic wobbles at a multiple from the fundamental in the same amount of time it takes for the fundamental to wobble once. I'm going to have to reread that. Yeah, like it completes the, it'll, depending on what the deets, well, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. Oh, well, that's where amplitude modulation comes into play, right? Like, that's why so many people do stuff like this. But they set it to be really fast. And when you set it to be that fast, that's kind of how you can get into... That's where, like, amplitude / ring modulation come into play. Yeah, dude, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Just had a little bit of white noise. A little bit of convolution reverb before the comb filter. It's like Bell's 101. And a couple nights ago, it gave some interesting results. Not every ring mod behaves the same. I think that's a really important thing to remember. And some ring mods don't go as low as I wish they could. And yeah, not all ring mods are the same. Just keep that in mind. And then you can do like such a nice sound. Hey Dennis, what's up? Sorry about that. That's because of this. What I should do is set this to C1. Set the range to 88. Set the offset to 88. And then now this will be where it's supposed to. Talking on Discord about a band who does it, given they use a pedal or a pedal emulation. I imagine most ring mod pedals would be fairly rudimentary. I don't know, it depends. Like I think this became the most noticeable when I was using a lot of plugins from the iPad that were supposed to be ring mods, and they were just very strange, long story short. But what I realized is that they wouldn't go down past a certain frequency range. And for what I was looking for, which was like making like, you know, my noise flutter like that. I don't know if you heard that or not, but yeah, I couldn't do it because it wouldn't go down fast enough, and it just sounded like garbage. But also, the shape of the ring mod can also be different. Stream from the other day where I was sculpting that possession-esque sound. Yeah. Dum 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 dum. That one. Yeah, because like right now, this is a triangle. And if you were to change this into a square or into, you know, something fucked up or whatever, like this is also going to affect how the ring mod behaves, because it's affecting the amplitude of the sound, right? So essentially, if you put a wavetable into that and use that as a ring mod source, like you get just weird shit. Yeah, dude, thanks. We do a lot of stuff like that. I still have that sound. Save this as a simple bell. Symbol bell. Let's do that. Square wave. I'm ring mod because why not? Actually, use the one in the plugin called Murda FX. Murda. Holla, holla. I hate that song. Yeah, this one. Yeah. I'm in Australia, so I don't get to catch your streams live. There's actually a few people in here from Australia. Yeah, I think that's one of the most difficult things. It's one of the coolest things, but one of the most difficult. Like, I love that people from all over the world come in and say hi, which thank you. Appreciate you guys stopping in and saying what up. But it's very difficult to find like a common time to go live where everyone can make it, you know? Hi, teacher. Dude, I guess you could call me that. What's up, dude? Give it a sort of whistle, I guess, kind of like how industrial hardcore sounds. Were you around when I made the hardstyle kick? And we talked about that with like, well, resonances and stuff. Maybe. Let me see. Sorry. Hard. Hard the bass. Hard wub. Hard style kick bass. I think this is the one. It might be this one, but yeah, this is one. So like this is a typical, you know, type of thing, right? I don't know, can't be fucked making it anymore. I don't enjoy the composition side. It takes way too long to get a decent kick. It doesn't. Just hear me out. This is the shape you're looking for. Whoa, what just happened? This is the shape you're looking for. And what it is a telephone style yeah, it's a telephone style shape because this is like 90% of that texture. And it's just having certain resonances peak out and then distorting the shit out of it. This is just the kick. And then this is saturating them together. But without this, like, listen. So, you know what's crazy? All that shit that we learned from neuroprocessing. How many videos have I made about this? Yeah, and that was always the sound that I was chasing whenever, like, I don't make hardstyle and I don't really care for it, but I was curious about how it was made. But yeah, it's this little guy. It's the telephone mid highs that you have to try to pull out. So you make a really distorted kick and then you use an EQ to pull out the peaks. And a gabber kick is the same thing. It's just different. It's different resonance points. Probably have passed as being decent like 20 years ago. Different resonance points. Well, I mean, when you change the distortion types and like you you know what I'm saying? You change the distortion types and you make it your own. Like that's that. Remember that thing that we were just giving the other person advice about, not trying to recreate it exactly? To that point, I feel so much more comfortable with just sitting down and coming up with new weird sounds after starting and learning halftime/neuro. Yeah, dope. Like, this is just a different flavor of that. Probably could still use an actual punch, but whatever. Oh, that already has that. Never mind. Maybe we want a bigger one. It's a gateway for learning sound design. What, making halftime? Or what do you mean? Probably need those pitch bends to fall at the same time, but definitely has a lot more of the kick punch now. It's kind of interesting to think about having two different things that pitch fall at those different times like that. It's kind of strange. Learning to twist and turn neurobase. Well, dude, like, that really, it's not even neurobase. It's fucking faceplant. Like, that was the biggest thing. It was Frequent, really. Frequent was the person that turned me on to that kind of shit. But, like, close your eyes, pull up faceplant, pull this up, make sure you do this, and just... whatever. Don't even think about it.
Recording to logbook.
Thanks, Trey. Ready? Do 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 do. Like, just get lost, man. And I did this for years. This one I'm going to be a little bit more careful with because, like, this can get scary. But, you know, that's one thing that I would be mindful of is, like, if you are going to do something like this, make sure that you turn it down by a lot. Like, by a lot, because you never know how it's going to react. But, yeah, like, as you can see, like, I just don't care. I don't care. Funny story behind that. Then I'll just leave this on and just distort this. On this, we'll run this through an OTT. Turn this down. Wait. Just a bit. Cool. Like, this is how I feel like faceplant was initially intended to be used. Sorry. Cool. So now that we have something that we can work with, let's actually start to make it into something that's a little bit more intentional. So now we'll really add those formants in here. Jersey. So rude. Brr. Most of the time I don't really use randoms anymore. I just use LFOs, but... now we can do like really small experiments by changing one thing. And then you can start doing things like this. Cool. What happens if we do this? And this is why faceplant is just insane, because like when you start getting into shit like this, it's like you make all these like crazy effect racks and stuff, and you just start stacking them. Cool. Cool. Let's do another one. Put another shaper table on that. Cool. Let's run this through a smooth and make this do this with a notch filter. See what that does. That's pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so great, we made like a crazy ass bass sound. Just from, you know what I mean? Just being like, close your eyes, make something. Like, okay, so now we do something really simple like this. Just put a pitch bend on it. Kind of curious as to what's creating the source of that distortion, just like the pressure that's in the mids, but that's something that I can go back and find later, you know, like that's not really something that I like a lot of. But like, that's a dope ass sound. So anyway, that's like, like I said, I did that for years, and through doing a lot of shit like that, I started breaking the patch down and like make something really complicated and then start working backwards and pull stuff off of it and be like, okay, what did I just do? Or what is making what interact with the other sounds in such a way that is creating this creating this phrase or this relationship. Does that kind of make sense? And then like what ends up happening after is you kind of memorize the formula, and then you just get a lot better at being like, okay, I'm just going to make the thing now. So there's that. I have that saved or whatever. But I've got all these bases and stuff that are pretty much the same thing, but just more controlled. Right? So now it's kind of just like, okay. That one's fucking sick. Yeah, Andrew, thanks for coming in, bro. Have a good night. Much love. So in any case, I guess the point with that was to not be afraid to jump in and make mistakes. I think the only consideration that I have is just make sure that you're working at a low volume, especially if you're new to sounds and resonances and stuff, because that's a really fast way to get to tinnitus and shit. But yeah, I think like it's just being exposed to the information in a way that makes sense to you, because let's be honest, like there is a tutorial for everything that you want to know on the internet now. Probably a free one too, you know. I find that the beauty with a lot of this stuff is talking to the artists about how they think about these things as opposed to just the formula themselves, because it puts context into what their intention is whenever they're making something and what they're wanting to go for in order to implement it within a body of their work, as opposed to just doing the sound design themselves. But yeah, does anybody have any questions about anything? Did I just go on a 30-minute tangent and bore the fuck out of everybody? Sorry. I just like this shit. It's very fascinating to me. No questions. Yeah, I mean, like, and that's kind of the thing too, is like, it's fun to get all heady about sound design and stuff, but like, ultimately for me, it's about the music. Like, if I'm making all these sounds and shit and whatever, it's all right. But if I'm not making music that I'm happy with, like, to me, none of this matters anymore. I think that obviously you need to be proficient enough to a point that gets you to start making the music and shit. But I feel like you can get to the aesthetic without having to execute the most insane fucking sounds, whatever, and make something that's good, you know? And I wish that I would have done that when I had first started. I think that I tried to do that a lot when I was like figuring out how to do all the sound design stuff. But at this point, it's kind of just one of those things where I don't really spend a lot of time doing this anymore. Which I should, because you get some cool shit every once in a while. But the thing is as well, is I've also developed a business, and I'm trying to make stuff that people can actually use. So where I don't think that, like, 5 years ago when I was making patches like this, I was like, yeah, just source it. It's going to be different every time. Make something cool. But these days, I think that the sound design world has caught up to where you kind of have to make it functional. A sound is only as good as the function that it serves. I think that's the best way that I can say that. But I also will say, excuse me. Sorry. If you can get to a point where you do have a cool sound, what's that called? Mecha Transformer. Let's say we go back to this, right? And let's say like you're trying to turn this into a bass track or something of the sort. Take like a piece of it. Sorry, just trying to make... And something that's really important about this is making sure that it has a good fundamental. Regardless of where it comes in, like maybe you do something like this and then you pull out a sub or a sine wave or something later down the line. But it'll help a lot with making your track work, I'll say that much. But instead of just doing like this, where you're like, okay, I'm going to use this sound, and then I'm going to use this sound. Yo, ISO, what's up? And then I'm going to use this, and then that's my bass line. Like, I wouldn't recommend that. What I would recommend is taking like one single thing with this. Something like this, if you're going to try to make like a whole bass line out of this and be like, okay, well, how do I make this interesting? It needs to be long enough to where some of the motion is like actually audible. But, you know, if you did something like this, like... And then now you're like, all right. Searching for things that actually have that fundamental. That's kind of the problem with this sound in particular, is it doesn't have a good sub, but... I guess that's where that can come into play, so you can go... Bump, bump. And then you can repeat that and actually create a phrase. So maybe bring that back like this. Like spending way less time, or like way more time on trying to refine like 2 or 3 sounds into something, as opposed to like just let me fucking blast this with variation. Because if you do it this way, then it's a lot easier to follow. But do you see how now like we actually have a call and response with this? And so you can actually make a beat that is going to be a lot more cohesive, knowing that you can also change out this other stuff. So like we go, you know, I don't know. Or you even just say like, turn that off and then put something else there and like make a note. So you go like this and then you go something here. And it might not be any of this. You know, you can just go back and source shit if you want to, but and this is just a means of cultivation. This isn't like, yo, like, this is how I'm going to write my next banger or anything like that, right? But it can help in figuring out how to just create a riff. Jersey, stop. I know that you want food. I know. But if you have something like this to where you can at least get your snares in and have a relationship with the main sound that you put in here, a lot of times that can help you figure out like what to do next or where the next piece of this is. You see how now there's this relationship between the sounds that are starting to create a type of riff, and then you can go back and do that with other things. So you can even do something like change this into something atonal. What just happened? What's going on here? Okay, whatever. Even do something like a pitch thing or whatever. I don't know, depending on what you're feeling like. Oh right, I need this guy. I don't like that. I wish I could just hold option and just do something stupid like that. What the fuck? Okay. And then once you have like 2 to 3 elements, you just resample it. You know, throw it through Beam, throw it through shit, put this in here. Toss this into your pedal route or your pedal routing, right? Turn that on. Take any of that stuff and grab that from your rolling sampler and start to get to the chopping board with trying to find new stuff that will complement your track. And then you can just do it over and over again as many times as you need to. And also like being flexible with not rather with understanding that not every sound you sample, for one, has to be used, but two, like, this is a piece of audio and this audio is malleable. So even just doing things like this where, you know, I don't know what this is going to sound like, I should probably turn that down. Be aware of your levels here, but you know what I mean? Even with this, like, this is something that's an octave up, so we can do something that's like maybe not have that, but you can do something like you can have like a double tap right there. And then, yeah, just trying to find other things that you can utilize as a layer on this to, you know, implement into your track as other texture and whatnot. Like, what happens if we set this to repitch and make it twice as fast? Sorry. Like, that's a dope fill. So you can put that there. Something like this, we can use that to create a rhythm. And once we actually have the rhythm of this, I'm just bullshitting, by the way, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Cool. If we have something that like helps establish the fundamental, like a cool 808 or something. probably where I would take out the sub from this stuff, you know, so I can just have even just that. Or maybe you can even just put this here and if you do something like this where you start focusing on trying to bring the rest of the sound out. That's a stupid idea, guys, so like I said, but or a short kick. Yeah, it's definitely something there, and so, you know, I don't necessarily like this sound, but I'm not married to it, and I like the placement of it. I like the riff rhythm. So maybe instead of letting these sounds kind of breathe, we can just make the whole thing more percussive. But that's part of being flexible with this stuff, is understanding like the track is going to take different turns and stuff at certain points when you're just trying to find your way through what's going on, you know? That's pretty sick. You know, so if we just have something super simple now, like we can pull off of that warmness of we can do something like this where we maybe just use an LFO. God damn it, I said I wasn't gonna write a track. I'm still not really into this, but Do something like this. And maybe not that. Having like a contrasting sound. You really have to be patient whenever you make bass music, man. You just... Nice. Some of that stuff's kind of cool. Just something there to break the monotony of... Just trying shit. I'm kind of curious as to what this would sound like as well if we bounce that and then pitch it up again. Or use a frequency shifter or... If you can create like a tight relationship with this, like, you know, maybe even something like that. can change this into a hat by just using a convolution reverb and going hat. Like maybe we could do something here where we pitch this up. But I mean, this is the type of way that you're supposed to get lost whenever you make stuff and you start a bass riff. As opposed to just being like, oh, this needs to be the thing. It's like you continuing to make it malleable and continuing to just spend time with it is really where the practice comes into play, at least in my opinion. And then I think that we should still have some of this other stuff in here that we can now use as texture. It's a lot of like garbage, but it's a pretty cool sound. Yeah, so put a crash on the one. Put a ring mod on that. Give this a little bit more push by moving this off a little bit ahead. Just the first one though. Or sorry, the first and the third. Because it's actually a little bit late, even. Interestingly. We're going to take this and stretch this up. pretty dumb, but it is a way that you can write, and it is fun if you are willing to spend time with it. Really want that to be like big. There we go. Big. Jesus fucking Christ. Holy shit. Huh. Yeah. So, you know, you can sketch an idea like that, and then, that's probably better because she pulled me out of whatever little trance thing I was in while I was zoning out anyways. But do you see how you can kind of lead things from one to the other if you just have the patience to sit with it for a bit? Because this is a completely different sound than what we started with. That's cool. And now just like put this in a space that makes it sound like it's in a dungeon or something, you know, then we can kind of do some really cool shit. And then now, like, the arrangement is there. The sounds, stupid. Throw them in the trash. But as far as, like, making a halftime track or whatever, you can do some interesting shit with it that sometimes can be cool. That was cool. Like, maybe not have that sound in there and try to do something else interesting like that, so then we can just turn this off. Or we could maybe even do like a pitch down thing. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. And if we can do that to where it's got the space. Probably want this to be a little bit later. So, you know, now that we have something like that, we can add more texture and stuff to this or get into the side chaining because I'm curious how this would sound if we, let me just do that. Kicks, perk, snares, side chain, side chain, hats, work, final, that can be on the outside, fork, crash, sub, and this stuff can go also inside of the sidechain. There we go. Yeah, I'm just chilling, man. Have like a break or something.
I'll break your.
Break it up.
Probably not that, but if we were to do something like this. Fuck, 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 fuck. We could do something like this to where we put that on the kick. What was that? I've never seen that shortcut before. Let's try that. So what I want to do is I want to move this one to be later to this hat right here. And I think that will cover or get the groove that I'm looking for. Yeah, so after that you just need a bunch of silly ass vocals.
I'll break your walls if they want to be broken.
Is that right? What's my go-to method for laying down the main kick and snare for a beat? I start with the percussion first.
Break your. Break your. Broken. Break your.
That's kind of the secret to like getting the groove, at least for me.
Break your wall. Break your wall. Break your wall. Break your wall. Yo, what? Yo, what?
Okay, now is the time that I should probably turn the snare down just a little bit. Still think that we need some kind of like atmospheric sound or something. Something that's not tonal. Yeah, so kind of lame sounds, but still a beat structure. And I think that just changing up the timbre of the sounds and stuff was kind of the big piece of doing that. But the beat's there, and so you can change out a lot of the different textures and whatever that you have, and then replace it with something more interesting. But the arrangement and the beat structure and all that or whatever is kind of all in place. And so even though we started with a weird bass sound or something, sometimes just messing with it for a bit and having fun, just trying to manipulate it into other stuff is kind of the name of the game with it. And most of the time, to be honest with you, it's gonna suck. Like today sucked, but every once in a while you get something and you're like, oh shit, that's really fucking cool. And you just gotta be willing to take time with it and experiment. And that's kind of where I'm at, is I'm wanting to try to get into just having more starting tracks from bass phrasing as opposed to doing like melodic bass riffs or something like that, but it's hard. But yeah, regarding like kicks and snares and stuff, it's like the kick is always on the one, and if you're making any kind of hip hop, then the snare is usually on the two, right? So there's not really a whole lot that you need to worry about or play with. And this, the only big difference about why it sounds the way it does is because the first and the third snare are early. So that's what gives it a little bit of push. But really it's about the percussion. Like all of my best tracks, like with the dopest grooves and all that, is all about percussion. Let me see, like actually even this beat that I was working on the other day, left it on the click. Like this beat is fucking, I love this beat. I don't know what to do with it, but the groove of it is not really the kicks and the snares. It's about all the shit that's around it. See how it has just that like it's the in between shit. Even for my pittance, it's just kick and a snare pattern, like kick, snare, but it's the shakers and stuff that give this the. It's the shaker, man. It's the. That's what gives it the thing. It's the best advice that I can give you. But yeah. All right, guys. I think that that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate that I had an audience to just kick it with. We'll be back Friday, and I'm trying to think about when I'm going to actually have time to stream. Oh, wait. Hold on. Friday we have Venus Theory. I forgot. Venus Theory is coming on the channel from 12 to 1, I think. So we're going to have a short stream, but we will be having a thing, which will be cool. So if you all like Venus Theory, I'm going to be asking him just random questions about his experience with the gaming industry and about how he about just his journey, and give him a chance to talk about shit where it doesn't have to be through the context of his storytelling on the channel, and he can just do him. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Really looking forward to that. And in any case, thank you all. Be sure to tune in for that. We're going to be live at 12. It's 6:43 right now, and it's going to be a very tight schedule because I have to get on a lesson right after. But yeah. All right, guys. Much love. Thank you so much. I will check you all on Friday, and yeah, I'll see you all around. Bye, everybody.